Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Welcome to The Experience, live with Russ and Scott.
Join us every Wednesday at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. Special thank you to our sponsors of The Experience Live with Russ and Scott, the Gillette Home Team of Keller Williams. For more information, go to teamgillette.com. And Christine Smith from the Aging Better Network. For more information, go to agingbetternetwork.com. Ta-da! Good morning, everybody. Welcome to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. We are so glad that you're here with us today. In The Experience Live with Russ and Scott, we're here with you every Wednesday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your listening and viewing pleasure. And I am always happy to be here with my good friend, Mr. D. Scott Smith. How you doing, Scott?
You know, it's just wonderful. Russ, just always great to hang out with you. We've been able to see each other live a couple of times here, even in 2024. So that's good. But I'll tell you, it seems like 2024 is already running away from us.
Oh my goodness. I know it. I cannot even believe how fast 2023 went. Mm-hmm. And then, we've got a week already gone out of 2024. And I'm telling you, now is the time to take action and do things, right? It's got no sitting around. I mean, live your best life right now.
Yeah. That's the thing is I always encourage people, do a 3-year plan, right? Just write out one sentence about who you want to be in 3 years in your personal, professional, relational, spiritual, and your business network and in your financial life. Just write out one sentence. And I tell you, that will go a long way for getting you prepared for opportunities that come up and obstacles that get in your way, but you'll keep on that long-term trajectory. And those little things that get in your way, like lockdowns and high interest rates and
all those little things. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. You got to plan. You got to look what's going on, but don't forget to live it today, everybody. Get out there and make things happen. And especially on Wednesdays, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, you need to join in The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. And we just appreciate all of you that are part of this community. And what an amazing ride it's been already, Scott. I mean, we have no thoughts about stopping anytime soon. We love doing this. We love being able to reach out and bring on amazing guests like Bonita, who we've got on today, is going to be amazing. And so super excited about that. But, we just are blessed with so many great people. And I want to remind people that they can basically join our YouTube page, subscribe on YouTube, and they can get access to all the amazing people we've had here before simply by going to theexperience.video. Theexperience.video is all you got to do. And as you're watching, you can open another tab, click subscribe. So Bonita, while you're backstage, you need to go up there, open another tab, click subscribe to the Experience.video.
To the Experience.video, yep. And I'll just remind people too that if you have a YouTube channel and you would like to grow that, put it in the comments and we'll share that out. And this is a community. We're here to support each other. When you subscribe to someone's YouTube channel, it doesn't cost you anything, but it helps them. And then if you click the little reminder, you'll get notifications when their videos post. And you can like those videos, comment on them, share. This is how we can all help each other. And
Yes.
if you have, and this is interesting, if you have at least 100 subscribers on your YouTube page, you're in the top 1% of YouTubers in the world.
Woo! That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm in the top 1% of a couple things, but we won't go there today. But speaking of sharing, you can share this out right now, everybody, while you're watching. Bonita's going to be on. You're not going to want to miss it. She's from the land down under. And so we're excited to have her on today. And so you want to share this, let people know what's coming up. And any of your friends that should be tuning in and are good friends with Scott and I, understandably, we understand people can't always watch live. And just a reminder, if you are watching on replay, please put hashtag Team Replay. You can still comment. You can still tag, you can still share, you can still do all the fun stuff, even watching that way. And if you miss it on that, what do we have, Scott? Behind door number 3, we have an audio podcast. You can watch and listen to that as you drive along in your car, right?
Yeah, add it to your Spotify playlist and just have a great time. I just want to make a comment about Bonita. So when Bonita and I first had a conversation, I knew instantly that the folks that watch the experience were going to want to connect to Bonita. Sometimes you just run into somebody and you can tell right away, this person has a lot to offer. So we're going to have a great time with Bonita, and I think it's time to bring her in.
I think you're right. Okay, let's do this thing. Bonita's on her way in. Let's see. How long is it going to take? There it is. Instantaneous. Around the world in 1 second. Woo!
How easy is that? And I just want to thank you, Scott and Russ, for having me here. And what a beautiful introduction. And I'm excited.
Well, we're excited too. We're really glad we arranged this and made it happen. And you are doing all kinds of great things. Why don't you give us a little snapshot? Who is Bonita and what are you up to?
Because you have this wonderful Australian accent.
Yes.
I'm joking, of course.
Yes, no, definitely. So I am from South Africa originally. And I've just always been an entrepreneur. And one of the first businesses I started was a matchmaking business. I left the corporate world, really done making money for everyone else, super successful. And I decided, no, I'm gonna matchmake people, because I was looking for my husband back then. And so it transitioned into a love and relationship coaching business, and in between that, online business management business, and also we've immigrated as a family out of South Africa. The situation is really dire over there, and we're just so grateful. We've been super blessed. Like, I didn't think we would make it, because I would say both my husband and I are undesirables, right? We don't have degrees. We don't necessarily have a skill set that a first world country would want. I mean, an entrepreneur, it's not on their list of short skill sets. But my husband has a distinguished talent. And so we've gotten into Australia with a distinguished talent visa. It's like a sports and culture visa. He races pigeons for a living. And so here we are in South Africa, in Australia, making it work. And right now, the business that I own is a done-for-you operations services business. And really what we do is we remove the business owner out of the business by systematizing and just really making sure that the business isn't built around this one singular CEO, hands up, who's done this before, that is burning out and doing everything themselves.
That is amazing. Go ahead, Scott.
It's so important. It's so important in any business, but when we've been looking at manufacturing and some different businesses like that, when you're single sourced on a key component, then you put the business at risk. And if you're single sourced on a key person, the business is also at risk. So if they want to take a vacation or they want to take a different role, the business stops because you're reliant on that one person.
Yes, completely agree, right? And so it's important to build a business around systems and around processes. and not a business owner. And I think sometimes when we own a business, and I work with entrepreneurs because I am one, we think we have to do everything ourselves. It's like that ego thing, right? I have to be good at this. And it's a process of releasing. Just like, I'm not the best at everything in the world, even though it is my business and my baby, right? And the sort of, for me, myself, I've seen this journey of stepping into a leader and allowing people to make mistakes in the business, to learn, and sort of just stepping back and allowing them to find their feet in their respective roles.
Yeah, I think it's interesting as a person who was in the corporate world for years and years, and then because of my good friend D. Scott Smith, who pushed me out the door, decided to start my own business. You're not always good at everything. I'm talking about you, each person. I mean, just because you are a good plumber doesn't mean you're going to be a good owner of a plumbing company. Just because you're a good marketer salesperson doesn't mean you're going to necessarily be a good owner of a marketing and sales company. There's so many things that go into business that people don't realize until you're in business. And then you're like going, Bonita, help.
Definitely. And I don't remember who this was that said it to me, but it's something that stuck with me is like, even an MBA can't prepare you for the staffing challenges that small businesses deal with, right? Or entrepreneurs deal with. And that sinks you, right? If you don't know how to manage people and businesses and how to create a culture and a vision, that's something that people want to be a part of. That breaks businesses. If your business is standing still every time you're changing a position or a leadership position.
Yeah, that's, what is it? It's Russ, was it Mike Tyson that says everyone has a plan until you get punched in the mouth?
Yeah.
And having gone through an MBA program, it is a lot of theory, right? It's like, here are things that make a good culture. Here's ways to be a leader. Here's ways to manage people. And then you go to work and you start managing people, and it turns out that people don't behave like the textbook.
No.
Funny how that works.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think there's a textbook written for Generation Z. And I see the next one is Generation Apollo or something, the next one that's on its way. Like, there's just no, like, you can't get that in a textbook, right? You have to experience that yourself.
Yeah, there's some interesting things with the different generations, but there are some fundamentals of human behavior, human nature, that transcend those the generations, and you just have to be able to adapt those to the audience that you're working with. But that's one of the things that makes entrepreneurs is that we can make those changes quickly, as opposed to the corporate world where they want to make a change and you got to get thousands of people to sign off on it, and lots of people get to say no along the way.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think that what I learned in management, Scott, is that sometimes the adaptation of the different generations is bigger than you realize too, because people do with my own children, you can be looking at the exact same thing and actually almost have the same view, but you're coming at it from two completely different angles and you're arguing because you're sure that the other person is not saying what you're saying. And it's a communication thing. And I think communication, Bonita, is so important in business. I mean, that is definitely something that transcends generations. You have to learn how to communicate, learn how to, like you said, how to cast vision in a way that people understand that so they can get behind you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Completely. I was just thinking about these two, Bonita, because we think about these different generations as being different cultures, but you're in a unique position because you have moved from South African culture and all the various cultures that are there, the layers, into Australia. And you've been there for what, 2 years now, or
Yes, going on 13 months.
13 months? Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what have you noticed culturally that prepared you or slapped you up the side of the head?
Oh my goodness. I run an international business. And so I have team in the US and Canada and South Africa and Europe, the UK. I don't have clients in Australia yet. I haven't focused on it because my team is on the other side of the pond, we call it. But definitely, cultures are very different. And I think the South African and especially the Afrikaans culture that I come from is very rigid, very prim and proper. Like you shake hands, you look someone in the eye, like you greet grown-ups and you keep quiet. And we don't necessarily raise our kids that way. But for me, the biggest thing is like we're in this amazing community. The Australian culture is a very socialist culture, right? And so everyone is accepted and on the same ground. South Africa has its history with, different cultures and racism. And the racism has turned into classism, which you don't necessarily get that in Australia. Like we're all the same. But then kids coming into my house, the neighborhood kids, all of a sudden, then like 5, 6 kids in my house. None of them greet me when they enter my house. None of them say goodbye. None of them look me in the eyes. And it's very hard for me to understand. Like, I want you, when you come into my house, I want to know you're here and I want you to greet me. But also in South Africa, there's a safety aspect. Like kids don't just roam in the streets and go do whatever they want, right? You know where your kids are. You always have an eye on them, especially in this age range. You can see my pictures at the back. They're 4 and 8. And so Australia is a safe country. And like my daughter of 8 went, 6 blocks to go buy something with a 13-year-old, and it's acceptable here. And so obviously that's the life that we want for them. But I think, I still worry about her every time she leaves because that's just my culture and the way I grew up.
Yeah. Well, I think Scott would attest to this. I mean, things have changed over the years because my growing up as a kid was exactly that. I mean, my dad, he instilled in me firm handshake, look them straight in the face. You always are polite, greeting people. And both my mom and dad were just incredible that way. But you're right. As time goes on, we instilled that in our kids, even though it's through years later. But so many people over the generations have lost that even here. But when you bring that back to the business side of things, because people are running those businesses, when you are helping them through this process with people that really a lot of times don't understand business, where do you start?
It's such a delicate process because as entrepreneurs, we treat our businesses like ourselves. There's very rarely a separation of the business and me. And so we have to help them do that and understand like it's a relationship building process where we earn trust over time. And so usually by the 3rd or the 4th month, if they've seen us helping the business grow, managing the team well, like getting better outcomes than they could imagine getting themselves, it's sort of like prying the business from their clutches, but doing it gently. In a way that feels good as we earn their trust. And so where we usually start when we come into the business is we say, right, where's money being left on the table? Because we all understand money, right? It's currency. And so where are we leaking money? Where is it not coming in where it should come in? Where can we quickly sort of like just optimize what we're doing, do it a little differently? Because we're online business experts, right? And it's different for every client, depending on who they are, their niche, and what their strengths are. And so we try and sort of cover our fees within the first couple of months. And that sort of helps an owner go, I made the right decision, right? And then we move into, okay, how are you spending your time? And we sort of look at areas that we can create a process for. To give an example, our one client has a podcast hosting and management business. And so she's got 50 clients at any stage, and she's like releasing podcasts, and she's got a team of 18 at the back end. She has a client, her clients used to email her direct inbox when they had a query, wanted to change something, had a question, didn't understand something. And so we took that email box, we cleaned it up, we created a client care training manual, a job description, we hired someone, trained, onboarded, changed that email address, right? And so all of a sudden, she's got the space to do things that she loves doing and hopefully grow the business. But then, just to give you an idea, all of a sudden she's got the space and she goes, oh, maybe I should start writing copy for my business. We're like, no, you're not a copywriter. Let's get someone on board. And so it's this constant support and training in terms of, no, as the business owner, you should be focused on growing your business, doing the things that only you can do, and then taking time to experience that freedom that you started your business because you wanted entrepreneurial freedom, not because you wanted to be chained to your business day and night. And sort of, we're workaholics, aren't we? Entrepreneurs. Like, it's so easy to get stuck in front of your computer 12 hours a day without even realizing that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
We do love what we do, right? I mean, that's
exactly
that's part of it. So when people say, what's your hobby? You hate to say, well, hanging out with Russ and interviewing remarkable people, that's my hobby.
Oh,
so
wow.
we could do this all the time. But I do love that phrase. I love
that's
that
the
phrase that you
first time.
said. Only
Yes.
do what only you can do.
Right.
Yes, definitely. I mean, that's a hard shift to make because we're used to doing everything ourselves. But I so loved what you just said, Scott, about if people ask you about hobbies, because I'm always like criticizing myself because I don't have hobbies. Like, I have to find a hobby. Maybe I need to paddle board. Maybe I need to start, like, I have to. But really, when you're doing what you love doing, you don't need a hobby because you don't need to escape. So thank you for that. That's a completely new way of thinking about it.
Yeah, it's like we can think of it as, if you were a professional pigeon racer, right? You just is like, what do you do? I race pigeons. Oh, that's cool. Oh, and you make money at it too. Wow, that's even better.
Yeah,
exactly.
Well,
I
I think
had a
one
light
thing.
come on.
Yeah, I think one thing that's true, the phrase that if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. And I think when you come to business, I would think, Bonita, when you're working with these people and you're gently prying the operation of the business from their clutches, you're also helping to focus them in on what they love to do, because they obviously, most of them loved the part of the business that they did. An owner that I worked for just before I started my business, he didn't like the ownership, the management, didn't like any of that. He liked the project management and working on the actual projects the company was doing. Anytime he could escape and do some of that, that's what he loved to do. And it really got to the point where it was a family business. The sons came in, they started taking parts of the business, and he really did what he loved to do. And that makes a big difference, because otherwise you start getting disillusioned and off track, because it's not only something you don't love, but it's also something you're really not very good at.
Completely agree. And, I've met so many business owners, and I was there when I had my coaching business. I had a relationship coaching business, where, you get to a stage where your business just doesn't light you up anymore. Like, you started it because you love what you do, but then it's just taking too much from you. And you're doing too many things that you don't enjoy doing. And, I remember there was a stage where I woke up in the mornings and I just sat in front of the computer going, I don't want to do this again. Right? It happened right after COVID, when we all had to work, double or 3 times harder to make the same type of revenue, right? Because we all got knocked a little bit. And then right after that, when I was doing more, and I was hitting my revenue targets, and I was like, yes, I'm doing this in between COVID, all by myself back then, which is why I burnt out and why I've started this operations management business. Then Facebook changes the iOS features and my ads go bomb. And I just said, that's it. That's just one blow too many, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, I tell you, I love the concept of everything that you do. I think it is so, so needed. And being the responsible host of this duo, I've got to start wrapping the show up. So what I would like for you to do, Bonita, is give us kind of the gold nugget or your wrap up point of all the amazing information you've given us today already. And then let us know, let people know how they get in touch with you.
Yes. So, I mean, I think I would say there comes a certain stage in your business where it's impossible to grow past yourself, by yourself, right? And then at that stage, you need to start looking at outsourcing bits and pieces. You don't need to do it all at once. But I would say we're not an island. We weren't created to do anything alone, much less build a successful business yourself. And sometimes it's okay to not know what the next step is or what to do or not be good at hiring people. And that's when you get an expert on board. And so happy for you to look me up. My company's name is scale2impact.co or Bonita Grobbelaar. I noticed, Russ, you didn't say that surname out loud. Good on you.
You noticed that I didn't say that. Yeah. You and I went through that last time. You trying to get me to know how to say it properly. So I gave up. So
yes,
you say it so well.
You go fetch the G right at the back of your throat, right? And I'm on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with anyone who's stuck in their business and not feeling lit up by what they do. Happy to have a quick call with you and give you some guidance.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
And I just love this too, because a lot of small businesses, they say they don't want to outsource. Well, I don't want to outsource these different things. But if they really are honest about examining their business, very few of them generate their own electricity. Very few of them own their own cell tower networks. We outsource every day. Yeah. So it's not a foreign concept. Just only do the things that only you can do, and let Bonita help you find what those are.
Exactly. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And Bonita, we appreciate you so much. Everybody, her contact information is going to be, it's in the comments. It's going to be in the show notes. It's all there for you. It's clickable. So that means you can go straight to her and find out more, because she is got amazing skills in what you may need with your business to get your business to the next level. So I highly encourage that. And Bonita, thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. We really appreciate you coming on.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you.
You bet. Hang tight for just a moment in the green room. We'll be right with you after we wrap the show up here. Well, there you go, Scott. They get better every week. Man, I'm telling you, I'm envisioning myself being one of them. I'm envisioning a lot of people that need her services.
Well, I was having conversations just earlier today, and the with folks in different time zones is a benefit of our 24-hour cycle. And there are a lot of businesses that finding customers is not the problem. It's that they're at capacity. They can't take on anymore. And it's a sad thing, because there's businesses with problems that they could solve, but they just can't get to it. And right. I was thinking of a friend of mine who's got a CPA office, and he gets messages every week, multiple times a week, saying, we're looking for someone to do our taxes. And it's like, we're not taking on any new customers. And you just think, how sad is that? And if they spent an hour talking to Bonita, what could they find that they could move out and be able to increase by 20, 30%? the number of people that they can serve.
Well, and I think that Bonita brought this up too. It becomes overwhelming and we run out of capacity. We burn ourselves out. We've got to get help. And Bonita is a great source for that. And you helped me make the decision to bring on the amazing Ever, who is behind the scenes doing so much great work for you and I. And that has been a revolutionary thing for me because it allowed me to spend more time doing what I am good at, what I love to do, doing the detail work and all the stuff. Just because I can do it doesn't mean I love to do it. You know me, I don't love to sit on a computer all day long and do work, and Ever does. So that's great.
Well, it's been a great show, Russ. I just appreciate hanging out with you and talking with Bonita today and sharing insights from her and the opportunity for folks to connect with her.
Exactly. And everybody, don't forget, we're here every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for your listening and viewing pleasure. This sits on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube after we're done. You can watch on replay. You can still comment. You can still share. You can still connect with Scott and I. Our information has been clicking along the bottom. I'm RussHedge.com. He's DScottSmith.com. We would love to connect with you. And please, please let others know about this. And until next Wednesday, when we see you again, have a great day and a great life and
enjoy the experience.
Woohoo!
Thanks for tuning in to The Experience Live with Russ and Scott. If you enjoyed today's show, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or subscribe on YouTube. See you next time.